Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to speak to you today. Coming into the second season of Surface, what can fans expect? Because I guess kind of the ante's been upped a bit. We're completely relocating to London. Can you give us a bit of a tease? What can they expect?
You know, it's a real roller coaster this season. I think that, you know, we come in and Sophie has moved to London. She's sort of undercover. She's trying to embed herself in this privileged world of the aristocracy, and while living this, you know, in a hotel room, you know, and really she's on a mission to find out about her past. She discovers a sort of breadcrumb of information at the beginning that her mother was murdered, and she believes that she was, you know, when she was last in London, before she lost her memory, she was trying to investigate this with the Huntley family at its core. So it's really Sophie sort of taking on the Huntleys, trying to kind of investigate them whilst also investigating her own past.
And Sophie, already such a fascinating character to play, but I guess this kind of brings a new layer to it, and also the fact that she sort of shifts from being the hunted to the hunter. So was that kind of interesting for you as an actress to try and take that on and kind of bring a different energy to the character?
Definitely. I think you always like to feel like your character's evolving and you're moving forward. And as an artist, you don't want to feel like you're repeating yourself. And I think definitely in this season, all the characters, you know, move forward. And I think certainly for Sophie, you know, whereas season one was a more, you know, psychological, internal journey of her, you know, rebuilding her life after the accident. Season two, in many ways, is her sort of taking on more autonomy in terms of her own past. And, you know, as she says at the end of episode one, she's got nothing to lose, which makes her all that much more dangerous. You know, she's risked everything to be there. So the stakes are that much higher.
And I guess it's also shifting the dynamics with all the other characters. So for you, Millie, with Eliza, you know, how did that change the dynamic between her and Sophie?
So for season one, Eliza was such a mystery. She showed up in a few flashbacks looking sort of bloody on the ground, and there were never any answers to that. And then so for season two, from season one, I knew where the character was going to go. So then starting season two in this absolute, like, it feels like we started off in a real butting of heads where Eliza has been really traumatised by Sophie leaving her life and her world. She has so many unanswered questions, and I think both of them meet in this quite combative way of Eliza's moved on, Sophie needs answers, and we go through this journey where they kind of need each other, but also there's this real power play between them, which is really fun to play. So the constant push and pull between those two characters was so fun to do.
And for you, Oliver, playing James, and there's like lots of twists and turns. It's quite hard to talk about this without too many spoilers. But
I know there are so many twists and turns in season two. I think the thing that's as you know, with what Gugu just said, that I think when you're playing a character, you kind of want an evolution. You want it to kind of go down, and maybe down a road that you didn't even expect. And I think that James shows up with everything that's gone on in season one, with feeling so betrayed by what's gone on, and so sort of on this sort of mission for revenge with Sophie, and will not stop, is not giving up. And so I think it was kind of really interesting to kind of look at to kind of go through that after everything that we'd experienced in season one, but coming into season two with all of that history and seeing kind of where they go. Again, it's quite hard to kind of talk about without, you know, giving away any kind of spoilers, but it is quite the ride that they go on as a couple and individually, and sort of the story as a whole. It's it's quite a yes.
And what I love about shows like this, I guess, is like kind of that energy and that pull of this sort of taut psychological thriller. Yeah. But there's also all this kind of social commentary perhaps bubbling underneath about how we do perhaps look at the upper classes and those with, you know, wealth and privilege. And we think, you know, is everything as perfect as it seems? And maybe there is something quite cathartic or satisfying about maybe sort of scratching beneath that to see what else might be going on. So do you think there's a bit of that element to the show?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's a luxurious world we're in, but we're, just because people have money and privilege doesn't mean they're happy, and doesn't mean, that there aren't a lot of lies and deceit underneath it all. So I think it's kind of always fun to sort of confront the underbelly of a world like that. And I think we often see, a privileged world on television, in the UK, but it's perhaps often in a period drama, and so it's been interesting to see this sort of, luxury world of the country estate and, modern London, but in a contemporary setting, which I haven't seen very often.
Absolutely. I think I'm out of time, unfortunately. But thank you so much for sharing all that with me. It goes too quickly.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.